I was thinking a lot about a certain game from the 2013-14 season on the way home from this game last night. You may remember, maybe you were a fan back in 2014, and so I'll regale you of the tale. And if you are, you probably know where I'm going with this. Raptors Thunder, March 21st, 2014. For the uninitiated, this was like peak of his powers MVP Kevin Durant, like 2 months out from winning his MVP. He was absolutely on one that season. The Thunder were 51-18 coming into town. They were an amazing team. The Raptors, 37-30 in the midst of their post-Rudy Gay trade, sort of rise up the standings where everything was fun. And, they were playing in a similarly depressed Eastern Conference where there weren't a whole lot of great tests for exactly how good they were throughout that season. And so the Western Conference heavies were kind of those big tests. And the Thunder come into town in late March, and they play an absolute banger of a game against the Raptors. Russell Westbrook goes out with an early injury. Kevin Durant scores 51 in the game. The Raptors kind of hang in. It was not like the Raptors didn't blow a fourth quarter lead. They actually kind of kept striking back after KD kept putting the Thunder up by a possession or two throughout the closing stretches of the game. They force overtime. Kyle Lowry hits a big three at the end of the first overtime to tie things up again, to send it to overtime number 2. And in that frame, the Raptors take a 5-point lead, and they have a 5-point lead with 20 seconds left on the clock. And all kinds of crazy stuff happens at the end of this game. They give up a 3 to Derek Fisher. Shout out Derek Fisher, making an appearance on the podcast, cut it to 2. Turn it over right away after getting the inbound. They get a stop on that, by the way, somehow. And John Salmons, after turning it over, gets fouled. He goes to the line, misses both free throws. So it's 118-116. And guess what happens? Kevin Durant bangs a 3, and they win the game. They come back from down 5 with like 15 seconds left to win. And it was dejecting, but it was also one of the first games where you really felt like, oh, like this Kyle DeMar, Jonas Raptors team maybe has some juice. And I felt that for the most part coming out of the game last night against the Spurs. And look, the Raptors are going to suffer crippling losses after this too, right? Like, this is what happens. The Raptors had this game against the Thunder, then they went and played 7 against the Nets and lost in truly heartbreaking fashion at the end, and they got swept the next year. None of this stuff is linear. This is not an instant gratification game, but games like this against the very best teams, they're necessary.